Hello and welcome. I'm your host Elizibar, and we got us a late night comic book video. Yeah, it's been a while since we had a late night comic book video, and we got one. And we're gonna ramble about Spider-Man here, okay? Because there's a lot of stupid stuff that goes on in comic books, and Spider-Man is like right at the eye of the storm. He's got all this stupidity swirling around him for the last 20 years, most of which doesn't need to be there. If you go back to the 90s, Spider-Man had one dumb plot line that was only really dumb because it went on for like 3 freaking years. If the Clone Saga had been compressed down to like 6 months or something, nobody would be mad at it. But it wasn't. It just kept going on and on. Okay? Move forward a few more years. You got like the early, what was it, the mid 2000s, I guess. And you got One More Day. Now, if I remember all this right, this happened like around Civil War. Peter Parker had just changed sides and somebody had shot Aunt May, and it doesn't really matter who did. And so now this is a world. You got to remember, Marvel is a world where super science is casual technology. People walk around with nanites that can reconstruct human bodies, turn like, you know, a coaster into a death laser. Like that's what people got. People also have super magic. You got people who can just be like, oh yeah, let me use a little magic here. Sure, there's consequences, like that time that Doctor Strange did some magic and kind of turned Las Vegas into the ninth circle of hell. Like that happened, whatever. But the point is, there's all kinds of crazy stuff out there. So when Aunt May is in the hospital and Tony Stark knows where she is, what does Peter Parker do? Instead of being like, hey, Tony, you know, can I borrow some extremist technology or whatever? I think extremist was before Civil War. Anyway, instead of being like that, or being like, yo, Doctor Strange, can you help a brother out and like magic the bullet out of her body or whatever? No, no. Peter's like, man, I really need to go talk to Mephisto and make a deal with the literal devil to save a 90-year-old lady. Bro, she's like 90. Let her go. Like, I digress. I digress. There's going to be a lot of digressions. So he makes a deal with the devil, erases his marriage. Okay, that's probably fine. And you know what? If you fix it in like a year, probably not a big deal. Becomes just like one of those wacky comic book things. Instead, the whole plan with that was for Marvel to be like, you know what? We need to make Peter Parker hip and young and have lots of like naughty times with lots of women. Which that's not really how Peter Parker has ever rolled in his life. The man has about as much game as a stick stuck in the mud. You should go read some early Spider-Man books. Peter Parker is a major jerk to everybody for no reason. Like Flash Thompson's like, "Yo, Peter, you want to hang out?" And Peter's like, "I hate you, Flash. Go away." For no reason. But I digress. He's come a long way. So the latest stupid thing. Yeah, we've done 3.5 minutes and all you got is backstory. The latest stupid thing is Marvel decided that when it started to look like Peter and Mary Jane might become a thing again, which there were a couple comics about this. I read one of them, was it like Mary Jane? It's The Amazing Mary Jane, right? It's like a 5-issue miniseries where she's in Hollywood and she's talking with Peter every night on the phone and stuff. And it's really great. It was really fantastic. I had a ton of fun with it. Then there was a Mary Jane and Black Cat. There was a book that was like a one shot with them doing stuff and lots of fun. I had a blast. So instead of giving people what they wanted, which is Peter and Mary Jane, Marvel was like, you know what? What if we took Mary Jane Watson, we took some random guy named Paul who's a nerd. Look at this dude. He's somehow more nerdy than high school Peter Parker. I don't know how you accomplish that. This guy has about the level of testosterone that a jar of mayonnaise does that's been sitting on the counter, right? That's where he's at. So we're going to like magic him and Mary Jane into another universe for like 10 years or whatever, where they will start a family and have a couple of kids. And then suddenly Mary Jane comes back with Paul and they've got 2 kids. Okay, that's kind of dumb, but let's roll with it. All right. So that kind of puts Mary Jane and Peter and Paul into like a weird love triangle. We can work with that. And there's like attachments with the kids and stuff. We can work with that. But Marvel, instead of being like, hey guys, we know you don't really like where this is going, but we got this cool idea coming up and we're just asking you to bear with us. Marvel's like, hey, instead, what if we erase those kids? Like, I don't know. I don't think this was the plan all along. Because it seems kind of dumb. Like, why would you introduce these guys, like, what, 3 months ago or something, just to delete them now? It's kind of dumb. It's about as dumb as that time that two psychics snuck into, like, the X Mansion, right? And this is when the X Mansion was in Central Park. Don't ask, it's stupid. On behalf of Ahab, and then literally under the noses of like 20 of the world's most powerful psychics, psychically brainwashed everybody in the X-Men, including the 20 powerful psychics. Like, it's entirely stupid. Stop it. Extermination was a stupid event. All right, that's all I'm saying. So instead of Marvel sticking by its guns, they've erased those kids. So I don't know who this dude is. Z dollar sign Z30 or 3R4 exclamation. He's like, we won. At least Marvel, like, actually, you know, seems to be listening to people as opposed to One More Day, which for whatever ungodly reason they've decided that that has to be like the one thing that sticks around in all of Spider-Man canon. Like, Gwen Stacy, no problem, we'll bring her back from the dead. We'll even give her like a sex scene with Norman Osborn. What? Why? But Mary Jane, you know what? We can't give people that have been buying Spider-Man for 40 years what they want. We can't give people that have been buying Spider-Man since like 1988 the thing that they want to see, which is Peter Parker and Mary Jane being happy. You know what one of the highest selling issues of any comic book of all time is? Peter Parker and Mary Jane getting freaking married. I think that book like sold like 1 million units or something, man. It's ridiculous. Was this book probably selling right here? It's probably selling like 80,000. That's a big freaking difference. You know what? People liked it when Peter Parker got a little taste of happiness and then had to deal with real life issues like keeping your spouse happy, balancing work and home, or in his case, work, superhero, and home. That's like burning the candle at three ends, and candles only got two of those, man. They got a top end and a bottom end. Peter Parker's like, you know what? I'm gonna burn it in the freaking middle too. So now, Mary Jane and Paul are probably gonna end up getting closer together, just to spite the fans, to bond over their shared whatever. Now, the thing that I thought was really funny, I just wanted to zoom in up here. Can we just like zoom in on the. No, of course we can't. Okay, open image in new tab. There. Dad, I can hear the Scribble Man. Who's the Scribble Man? I presume the Scribble Man is the fans. Like, this feels like a direct attack on their fans. Or it's the writer. Dad, I hear the writer's coming to get us. We're safe here. I feel funny, Daddy. No, 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 no! So is this guy going to turn into like a supervillain now? Because if so, this is the lamest, dumbest superhero origin that I've ever seen. And believe me, I've read Spider-Man books where there is a guy named the Ringer who throws rings at people. All right, so I have already experienced dumb superhero stories. What a mess. Marvel got themselves into a stupid situation with Spider-Man again. I don't understand why it's hard to get somebody who actually understands the character to write the character. This doesn't seem like this should be insurmountable, but it apparently is insurmountable. I understand like Chip Zdarsky had a couple of good issues and kind of a bad overall plot, but after like 20 years of Dan Slott, like that must have felt pretty nice. I don't know. Like I might have said earlier, I checked out Absolute Carnage and discovered that it was an event that was not an event. It was just like an event that should have just been a couple issues of a book. And I checked right back out of the Spider-Man franchise, except for the Amazing Mary Jane, because that was pretty good. What a mess. What a mess. I don't know why it's so hard for a company that is supposedly in the business of selling products to actually sell people the product that they've been demanding for 20 years. This would be like Coca-Cola being like, you know what, we're going to can our product line. We're no longer going to sell our top selling product, Coca-Cola. Instead, we're going to have New Coke. And then they wonder why their sales crash. Oh, wait, that actually happened in the 80s. I'm like the only person on the planet that liked New Coke. All right, because I was a little kid and I didn't know better. Don't be the little kid that doesn't know better. Spider-Man is a wreck. It is a train wreck. It is a mess. Nobody knows what any of this means. It's all fanfic. The real Spider-Man stories basically stopped with One More Day. Renew Your Vows was a nice continuation of it. The book that Mayday Parker came from, nice idea, nice continuation of the Spider-Man story. But the mainline Spider-Man books, all 14 issues a month that they put out, I'm exaggerating. They're fanfic, dude. This isn't Peter Parker. This isn't Spider-Man. This is just stuff that they're writing because they need to sell books. And they've put on like the skin suit of Spider-Man. They've peeled all the skin off of him. They've put it on somebody. And now that person is shambling around pretending to be the Spider-Man because they don't actually know how to write the Spider-Man. There's one thing to have the Parker luck, to be tortured by your writer. There's another to be Spider-Man right now and be written completely out of character at all times. You all take care of yourselves. Thank you for listening to my rant. I hope you have a great night, a great day, great whatever you got going on. Until next time, bye-bye.